What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. Today we got a reaction to Kaiser Chiefs and their top 10 songs, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter and patron of the channel, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. Couldn't do it without the patrons. Running a free trial. Go over there, check it out. We got some exclusive stuff. Can do some cool stuff for you too if you decide to join. All right, let's get after it. I've done one Kaiser Chiefs song reaction back in December of 2022. I'm filming this in October of 2024, so it's been a minute. They're an English indie rock band from Leeds who originally formed in 1996 as Runston Parva, before reforming as Parva in 2000 and releasing one studio album, 22, in 2003, before renaming and establishing themselves in their current name that same year, so 2003. Since their formation, the band has consisted of lead vocalist Ricky Wilson, guitarist Andrew Whitey White, bassist Simon Ricks, keyboardist Nick Peanut Baines, and since 2013, drummer VJ Mystery, who replaced founding drummer Nick Hodgkin following his departure from the band in late 2012. That's a long time for the same guys to be together. That's impressive. Primarily inspired by new wave and punk rock music of the late 70s and 80s, the band have released 8 original studio albums. They have won 3 Brit Awards, including the award for Best British Group, an NME Award for Best Album, and was shortlisted for the Mercury Prize. So not known at all here in the United States where I am at. But if you haven't been with us before, the music won't be in the video, but it'll be a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along with us. Let's kick it off with the song that I actually reacted to, although I got to tell you, it's 2 years ago as a song reaction. I don't remember it. I might remember it when it plays, but Every Day I Love You Less and Less from the Employment album in 2005. Opening track of the debut album. I always find that to be important, right? What is the first thing this artist, the producer, and the record company wants us to hear? The first thing ever from this band. It's a huge statement. So, opening track of the debut album, 10 in the UK, 9 in Scotland. Singer Ricky Wilson described the song as a hate ballad and added, quote, "Usually bands release for their third single a love ballad, but we decided to do the opposite. It's for anyone who's ever split up with someone and they don't leave you alone. I was describing that song the other day. You think it's going to be quite bouncy, but it's actually as negative as you can be." I like it, man. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Richard. All right. A lot of classic lines in here. The energy of the guitar work, especially just the music, the propulsive energy, just makes it so catchy, man. Fantastic first song to come out of the gate with. Every day I love you less and less. I can't believe once you and me did sex. It makes me sick to think of you undressed. Since every day I love you less and less. You're turning into something I detest, and everybody says that you're a mess. Since every day I love you less and less. I mean, so it's not a love song or a ballad by any means, but I understand what he was saying when he drew the parallel that usually is the third single. But fantastic first song. I said fantastic energy. Next up at number 9, we got Modern Way, also off the Employment album in 2005. Fourth and final single from that album, 11 in the UK, 12 in Scotland. Modern Way, a third of the way through that song, I'm like, I like it, but I don't like it nearly as well as the first song I heard. The more it went on, man. That percussion was interesting in there, this constant thing. And you definitely felt the new wave influence, which I love new wave music from the early 80s because I was very young then, and it just kind of takes me back to a time and place. But that song was really good. It's always weird when I say this on these videos. Like, I never even heard of these guys. And I did that one reaction to him. So when Richard brought this top 10, I'm like, yeah, I think I know those guys. And I had to go back and look. I'm like, yeah, I did one reaction. One of our old patrons, Ryan, great guy. But, you know, it's crazy that they had no success here in the U.S. at all. But I come across that all the time on this channel because we're behind in the U.S. We were in the 60s. We are now in music. All right, so we'll go away from the Employment album and go to our number 8 song off their second album, Yours Truly, Angry Mob, in 2007. We got Everything Is Average Nowadays. Second single off this album went to 19 in the UK. All right, Everything Is Average Nowadays. Fantastic energy as well. So the first song, Every Day I Love You Less and Less, obviously he's in a relationship or was in a relationship. He loves this woman less and less. Modern Way, I guess I didn't really talk about it after the song because I was so taken in by the arrangement of it. You know, it's about basically everybody faking it. It's kind of what they got to do, use their tactics to get along in life, but no one's really genuine. And now we get to Everything Is Average Nowadays, and he just says all these things are average. Everything's always going to stay the same because of it. So pretty pessimistic lyricism wrapped in fantastic arrangements in song structure, right? So really good 3 songs through. Next up at number 7, we got Never Miss a Beat off the album Off With Their Heads in 2008, their third studio album. So we're going chronological here. That's not the way the whole thing's going to be. It just fell that way. Lead single 5 in the UK, produced by the great Mark Ronson and features backing vocals from Lily Allen and members of the rock group New Young Pony Club. I don't know the New Young Pony Club, but maybe you do. Never miss a beat. A different arrangement as well. All these arrangements have been fantastic, right? The musicianship on them. This song is about kids on the street, poverty. You know how they never miss a beat. They're skipping school, but as the song unfolds, you can realize they don't have a lot to eat probably. I mean, it's all kind of buried in the song. And a lot of it, if you're not from the UK, for me, I had to look up what's sort of like the referee means the police and different things like that. But it turns out that you might write them off because they're not, quote, very smart, book smart, they're street smart. And you got to have both those things, boys and girls, to succeed in life. But really well done. And we're going to skip all the way to 2019 and their 7th studio album, Duck. We got the song Record Collection. Lead single, the band's frontman Ricky Wilson has stated, quote, "It's a vibe. It's about the internet and frustration with the internet, about how it rules over our lives, but we don't really understand what it is and how we just click accept." Boy, I was around for the start of the internet. Yeah, boys and girls, I'm that old, but it's a different animal now, and I get it, man. Like, technology is part of our lives. You can like it, you can hate it, doesn't really matter, but at some point, at some level, you have to embrace it because everything in our lives is built around it. Fantastic production on that Record Collection. Really good, almost dance track on here. Different sound. We're a lot of years. We fast forward a lot of years. Still sound fantastic. But I really did enjoy that. Every bit as catchy as the other songs, but they're all catchy in a different way, if that makes sense. You know, they're not formulaic, you know, and that's what I really like so far. So we're halfway through this list, only halfway through this list. Kick off the top half of it with Coming Home from the Education, and War album in 2014, their 5th studio album. Lead single went to 31 in Scotland and in the UK. Coming Home, such a great build to the chorus. I knew that chorus was coming. I was like super looking forward to it, man. Builds into that chorus. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. May I remind you, you've got nowhere to go. So I'm staying beside you, standing beside you till you find your way back home. Coming home, light a fire. We're coming home. We'll write it down. Good lyricism on here, but a fantastic song, a catchy song. We still got 4 songs left, and I have absolutely loved, spoiler alert, this top 10 so far. Next up, we're going to rewind back to that debut album, Employment, in 2005. We got Oh My God, debut single. So I guess I was wrong. Oh, okay. Every Day I Love You Less and Less, the first song we did, was the first song on the first album. It wasn't necessarily the debut single. So this is the debut single. It was initially released by the Drowned in Sound label in May of 2004, reaching 66 on the UK singles chart. Re-released in February of 2005, so 9 months later, 2 weeks before the release of the album. This time it peaked at number 6 in the UK and 5 in Scotland. Singer Ricky Wilson said, "The verses are about the fact that we've been playing together for such a long time, and people think, what's he doing? He's still trying to make a career out of music? It'll never work. 1 in a million people do it. But we still had the opinion that we were 5 of the people in a million. So we carried on." And that's the kind of tenacity, boys and girls, that will let you make it in the music industry and when no one else tells you you can, or really in any walk of life, because it is so hard to make it big in any industry, right? And I don't know if it's easier or harder now in the music industry. In some ways it's easier because you have digital music, streaming music, YouTube. But in other ways it's harder because there's even more stuff out there and we're more differentiated. We don't all go listen to a radio station. So kudos to them and a great quote. Oh My God. Third song we've heard off the debut album. I'm going to have to go listen to this album. I've already heard 3 of the songs, but all the songs are similar in like the heavy guitar and heavy vocals and heavy drums, you know, the rock sound, but also different, if that makes sense. And yeah, it was just really good. I mean, it was really well done. Their musicianship spot on. Ricky is a very capable lead vocalist. So yeah, and it's, you know, that quote, it's funny, it's their debut album, but they'd already been going for so long, because that's kind of how the way it was back in the day. You don't see that nearly as much now. You don't see artists come in with the grind, but this is a great example of when you grind it out for a long time as an artist without a recording deal. When you come into that debut album, right, you're coming in hot because you've already worked these songs out. You've been performing together for so long. You're tight as a band. It doesn't sound like a debut at all. But that's why good debut albums or great debut albums are rare. They were much more prevalent back in the day. They're very rare now. But I digress. Let's go to the top 3. Next up, number 3, we got Love's Not a Competition from the Yours Truly Angry Mob album again in 2007. It was a limited release, so it only went to 112 in the UK singles charts. So it's not indicative of how good the song was or how well it would have done, but limited release, it didn't have a chance to go any higher. Love's not a competition, but I'm winning. So that's the whole irony of the song. I mean, it's right there in the title because he's telling her throughout the song, love's not a competition, but in the chorus, love's not a competition, but I'm winning. So it is. Once again, nice musicianship, nice vocals. The biggest compliment really I can pay a song is I wished it wasn't over yet. And I felt that way about all of these songs, all of them. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You don't feel that way a lot of times, right? These songs all leave you wanting more, and I wish more artists would learn that art form. As mentioned, we're staying on the same album, Yours Truly, Angry Mob from 2007. We got the song Ruby coming in at number 2. Lead single, number 5 in Ireland, number 1 in UK, and the 10th biggest selling album of the year in the UK. Ricky Wilson told The Independent, quote, "For me, she is super cool, totally unapproachable, and doesn't even know or even want to know your name. The tough nuts are the hardest to crack, but have the sweetest flesh." Put that on a t-shirt. That's actually a great saying. Is it PC? I don't know. There was a girl like that at school. She said my name in a cafe once and I crumbled. I kissed her once and broke her necklace. It's funny how that kind of girl can make super cool dudes like me into fumbling idiots. Been there. I don't know if I was ever a super cool dude, but in a 2022 TikTok video, Nick Hodgkins, who we remember was the drummer at the time he left in 2012, revealed that Ruby was his family pet, a black Labrador. All right. You know, the song totally encompassed that feeling. I mean, most of us have probably had somebody like that in our life. Most of us who are guys maybe did in their formative years. I did. I had a couple of girls like this in high school, one in middle school, one in high school. You know, I've been with my wife for 30 years. I don't want to be with anybody else. But, you know, the missing feeling that you had in youth of just that innocence and just that wonder, right? Oh, wow, man, does she like me? I can't believe that. You know, that's a great memory to have, right? I kind of miss that just feeling. But once again, I didn't want it to be done. Ruby, 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 Ruby. Yeah, fantastic. Now we get number 1. What is it? Some of you might guess that no, the Kaiser Chiefs. We got I Predict a Riot off the band's '05 album in 2004. It's originally released as their second single in November of 2004 and was Kevin's first release on the Be Unique label. It entered at number 22 on the UK singles chart. When re-released a year later in 2005 as a double A side with Sink That Ship, it peaked at number 9 on the UK chart. Once again, drummer Nick Hodgkins used to DJ at a club in Leeds called The Cockpit. He would often drive home past another nightclub called Majestics, which often had people and police fighting each other, and sometimes drunk clubgoers would even bang on the windows of his car at 3 a.m. He took inspiration from this one night and wrote a riff on the piano when he got home. The, quote, friend of a friend who got beaten was a friend of a fellow DJ at the Cockpit. The title came from an event Hodgkins DJ'd at a different club called Pigs, where a band called Black Wire was playing. The crowd was so chaotic that he said to the club's boss, "I predict a riot." This name sounds familiar to me. I don't know why I would know this song, and I probably don't, but number 1 in the Kaiser Chiefs top 10 for Richard. I Predict a Riot. Man, that song was a banger. I Predict a Riot. I mean, obviously their punk influence comes out on this song. This song is fantastic. The energy in this song is fantastic. Peanut even plays a Hammond organ in this song. You got to find it. It's hidden in there a little bit, but yeah, I mean, great choice for number 1. There's several of these songs could have been number 1, but I think the right choice was made here by Richard. Now we're going to get to my favorites. This is one of those lists where I could have said, oh, I mean, the Kaiser Chiefs are bangers, man. I've wanted to call them the Kaiser Kings. I don't know how many times. I don't know why that flows in my head, but so if I said it once in here, just disregard it. But Kaiser Chiefs, fantastic. I mean, this is my favorite list I've done in a little bit. Don't tell everybody else that have submitted their list, but man. Honorable mentions, I guess, Every Day I Love You Less and Less, Modern Way, Everything is Average Nowadays, which were songs 10 through 8. Faves are going to be Coming Home, Ruby, and I Predict a Riot. So that's 6 of the I mean, I could have said all 10. I liked every song on here, and I liked every song on here quite a bit. Love this sound. What a fantastic list. Thank you, Richard, for bringing it. And guys, let me know what you think of this list down below. What else should I listen to by Kaiser Chiefs? And until next time, guys, I will see you.